All right, today is November 17th, and we are in probably about 6 hours into this day's candle here. If you can see that, it's right here forming. Again, we have the VWAP trend line, which is the yellow one right here, and then we have the EMA 8. That's the exponential moving average 8. That's the green one that you see here. And I've explained in a couple videos prior to this that we can see what's happening trend-wise by these two indicators. Once the VWAP crossed the EMA 8 and a downward trend, it signifies that we are in a downward trend. If you see here, there's still a gap between, so unless there's a huge reversal here and gives it a day or so to get back across, then we can move back up into a bullish trend. But right now we are in a bearish trend. The trend line on the red at the very top that I put here covers the tops of the highs, and I put this in back at this point back here and just extended it out, and it seems to be holding true to that. It has tried to cross it a couple times but just didn't have enough power to get across. The lower intermediate line, we'll call it, I did another trend line of where it's possibly trending here on the micro. What is happening in the last couple weeks? Excuse me. But what we see here, let me see if I can make this a little smaller. This blue line is the actual bottom. If you see this here, this is the actual bottom. So what are we looking at here? Once it goes beyond this level of support at about 45.39, somewhere in that vicinity, we could see a possible drop down into the 3,500 range. Depends on what happens here. It could take some time. I mean, this has just been a little choppy consolidation, but it is still on a downward spiral. It is still going down. We've had some negative days, I mean some red days in all the cryptos, which has probably done a little bit to bring it down as well. But we look here, what does TradeView have it at? It has it at a sell. It is a sell. That's what they're pushing right now. So if you had bought back here, I think the only thing you can do is either take your loss and move on, or just hang on and see if it bounces back, and we'll see what happens. But we are in a downward bearish trend. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you, unless the whales come in and start buying it up and really pumping this thing up, then it will go beyond our resistance levels. But until that happens, we treat this as a normal like stock or anything. We look at the chart, we see what the candles are doing on a daily, on a monthly, on a weekly, then we can determine what's happening. Again, we can go back and look in the days, like on the 11th, it was a first green day in quite some time. So it did go across a previous day, which meant could be a possible move towards the bullish area of going beyond our resistance level, but it didn't. The next day was an inside candle, which signifies indecision, which also signifies do not trade. Inside days do not trade. Next day, same thing. It dipped below the previous day, but it didn't go any farther. It kind of touched the bottom a little bit. Previous day, or the next day again, tested resistance, didn't make it, didn't go across, didn't finish across, but it did finish above the previous day. Next day, same thing, but it was an inside candle. If you could see that, it did not go over this previous day's high or below the previous day's low. Yesterday, it went way below the previous day's low, and it did touch our support level, and it rejected it. It didn't go past, it rejected it, and then came back up and finished right about where we started and where we are sitting at today. So what we're looking at is a continuation of this downward trend. We're going to see what happens when these two lines converge. Let's see if we get a pop to the upside or a pop to the downside. Again, we are looking at a possible range of about 3,500 as our support in the next few days. And as this resistance line moves also in time, we could see it going down about 4,500 as well in the next few days as being the highs. So range, we're looking at somewhere between, in the next few days, somewhere between about 47 to 35, within that range, if this continues. Again, we just wait to see what the whales are going to do. We're going to get some manipulation. Of course, everything can be manipulated. They say cryptos can't. It can. I mean, you could go back and see here, look at all the whales. Everybody bought in back here. Was that manipulated? Of course it was. Of course it was manipulated. So anyway, if you're holding, hang on for dear life and just pray that things bounce the other way. If you are not in yet, I would not do much. I would sit on my hands, sit on the sideline, just watch what's happening until we get out of this, till the VWAP crosses the EMA 8 and we get a break above this line of resistance. Once we're clearly, and we have evidence of a trend reversal, meaning more than just one day, we see an upward movement, then it would be time to really look about getting into this thing. So hang on tight, keep your hands in your pockets, do not do anything stupid, be patient and be careful, because this is tricky stuff. And have a great day, guys.